The speech title is My English Speaking Journey. The speaker, he was shy, he was quiet, and he was introverted a few years back. Today, he is still the same. But the difference is he's able to speak to the public, to hundreds of people on stage, and be able to contest in speech contest. 0 to hero stories inspire him the most, and he's also learning to do the same as a speaker. Let us welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Ricky Su, My English Speaking Journey. My English Speaking Journey, Distinguished Toastmaster Ricky Su.
Hi, good evening. 大家晚上好. Last time, I belonged to one Mandarin Toastmasters Club. And today, I belong to 2 English Toastmasters Club. Last month, I just joined a Malay Toastmasters Club in order to improve my Malay speaking. And next week, I'm going to do my icebreaker speech. Ucapan pecah ais. Nama saya Ricky. Saya seorang Toastmaster untuk 6 tahun. Saya, oh my God, my Malay language has gone rusty. My vocabularies are limited. And I have difficulties constructing sentences. How am I going to do my icebreaker speech? But this feeling feels very familiar. I felt the same when I first started out as an English speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the club meeting of Sutera Utama Toastmasters Club. This is the place where you can learn English public speaking. Do you want to be a better English speaker? Please type 1 into the chat box if you are here to learn English public speaking. Or type 2 if you have any other reason. Or if you're not sure or somewhere in between, you can type 1.5. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Now I understand most of us are Mandarin speaking here. So am I. Many of us went to Chinese school. So did I. But it is okay. And we don't have the environment to practice our English since our childhood. I can understand that. And if you were a little playful last time in school, you might not have studied enough and you might not have built the right foundation in English language. But no worry, I understand, and my purpose today is to help you to turn from a non-English speaker into an English speaker, and together you and I can turn from impossibility into possibility, because I have done that. I come from a multilingual family, or should I say multi-dialect. My late father was a Cantonese. My mother is a Hakka. When both of them speak, they spoke in Hokkien. I spoke Mandarin to most of my family members, except my mother. I speak with him in Cantonese. In the recent years, we started to text one another in English. That's the only time English comes into our family. When I was little, I went to one primary school, Chinese school. When I was not so little, I went to 2 secondary schools, Confucian School in KL, a Chinese school. Then Chonghua High School in KL, also a Chinese school. I even took Chinese subject in my Form 5 for SPM. My Chinese was not bad, right? When I went up to Form 6, I even chose Chinese as one of the few subjects to study. Why? Not because my Chinese was very good, but because I loved the book, The Romance of Three Kingdoms, or 三国演义. It was one of the books tested at that point of time in STPM. In fact, I did not finish my Form 6. But there was another story. But I'm sharing you this one because I would like to share that my Mandarin is not bad. I have the foundation. But my English language is quite another story. Honestly, my English is not bad also. In school, when I was given a choice, A, B, C, and D, I knew which one to choose, and I can score high marks. But when I came to writing, reading, and speaking, it's a mess. Until my English teacher told me, Chi Kyung, my name is Chi Kyung, Chi Kyung, you are a brilliant student, but you are so careless. Your writing is messy, and your grammar is horrible. If only you could check your work after you have done it, you could be a better student. That was my turning point. Her words changed me. And from that time onwards, I become more aware of how I use the English language. After I had written a sentence, I would go back and check it. Before I say anything in English, I would think through and make sure I said the right thing. And from that, I learned my lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, the first lesson here is that let's be aware of our English proficiency right now. Be mindful of where we stand. And as you speak or you have written your script, always go back and check to make sure everything is all right. And after your speech, you can go back to your evaluation form, talk to your evaluator, or even watch your video to know where you can improve. Be aware, not only because from there, you know where to go. Also because as you are more aware of yourself, your performance tends to get better. Do you agree? If you agree, please type be mindful. Be mindful into the chat box. And this is the right time to tell your fellow club members to be mindful also. Madam Ngor, be mindful. Bernard, be mindful. Joanne Lim, be mindful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the responses. I had a second problem. Just like many of you, I did not have the environment to speak English. Well, I spoke Chinese to my family. I spoke Chinese to my friends. Even when I went after a girl, I also spoke Chinese. So how am I going to improve my English? No environment, create the environment. I started to use one strategy, immersion. I immersed myself in English environment. The first thing I did, I changed my name from Chi Kyung to Ricky Su at that point of time. So I could feel like I'm an Englishman. And then the second thing I did was I started to read English newspaper. At that time, still physical newspaper. I invested 1 ringgit every day to buy the Star, and I just read it. I also started to write diary in English. Well, I used to write in Chinese, but I decided to change. And I did not write long posts like some people posted on Facebook, but I just wrote long enough to be able to record what happened and also to be able to express my feelings. I even started to plan my schedule. I make my life plan in English. so that I could start thinking in terms of English language. Another tip, 3 years ago, I started to learn the Korean language. And you know what I did? I changed my phone language to Korean to make sure every day, every hour, I look at none other than Korean language. And that makes me immerse into the new environment, right? 안녕하세요. 안녕하십니까. Okay, now if you are agreeable to this strategy, please type be immersed into the chat box. Immersed, okay? I need to spell like a Frenchman. IMMERSED, be immersed, okay? Type into the chat box. Thank you for all the responses. After being mindful and being immersed, have I changed for the better? Yes, but not enough to be an English speaker on stage. So 6 years ago, I came into Toastmasters. Sometimes I did good speeches, sometimes not so good. Sometimes I met good evaluators, sometimes not so good. And I remember well until today, there was one evaluator who said this to me after my speech. Ricky, your English is bad. You seems like you have difficulty coming out with words. Wow, it really hurts me. My fellow evaluators, please don't evaluate your members like this, especially new members. You could scare them away. But thanks to this evaluator, I remember his advice until today. I decided to change. I started to write out my whole speech in words, the full script. Last time I did not do this because I believe to be able to do public speaking is to be able to speak impromptu. So why write out a script? But if I didn't have the language foundation, it is better for me to rehearse my language first before going forward to get more. So this is my third tip to you. And if you agree, please write into the chat box, every one of you, write your script. Please type, write your script. Now this is the best chance for VPE to encourage your members to write your script. Write your script, okay? Type into the chat box. Thank you very much. Then I employ another strategy. I started to read. Not just read, but read aloud. Read aloud a story as if I am speaking to an audience. Allow me to do a demonstration. I'll be reading from this book, One's Journey, One's Lesson. Actually, this book is co-authored by many Toastmasters, and one of them is our current district director, Srinivas. And if you're interested in this book, you can get from him. I'll be reading from one article, one paragraph from Toastmasters Melvin Chia. When I was a kid, I was known as the quietest boy in class. I seldom speak because that was me, an introvert. Isn't that a good reading? Yeah, good reading? No, terrible. You do not read like this. When you read, you put yourself into the character of the story, you feel the feeling, you express yourself with emotions. And when you can do that naturally, very naturally, you will have the pauses, you will have the voice variety like this. When I was a kid, I was known as the quietest boy in class. I seldom speak because that was me, an introvert. Every day after class, I will go straight home, and I never joined any core curriculum activities. And this went on for years and years to come. Thank you, Melvin Chia, for this story. So as I started to practice reading, every single morning without stop. I started to develop the feeling to where to have the voice variety and how to immerse myself into the story to be a better speaker, better storyteller. Do you agree with this strategy? If yes, type this into the chat box. Read aloud. Remember, read aloud and read with emotions. Thank you. Last but not least, make your own style. Yeah, make your own style. Even come up with your own formula of doing speeches. For me, I am not very good looking guy. So I try not to be the best looking speaker. I am not very loud. So I try not to shout. But I can be quite weird sometimes. So I try to be creative and try to differentiate myself from the others. Take one example. Last time when I first joined Toastmasters, I like to do this. I like to sing at the beginning of my speech. I even danced at one point of time. I even spoke in another language for English speech. And I try to capture attention. Well, don't overdo this. As long as you're not overdoing this, it is fine and you can capture people's attention and you can differentiate yourself from other speakers. I also came up with my own formula of doing speeches, like for example, table topics. At one point of time, I decided that whatever the table topics master say, I must go against him or her. If she says, it is good to work from home, I would say everything I can to say, no, it is not good to work from home. So I repeat this in the second club and in the third club, and I started to develop that kind of strategy. And then 1 month later, I decided, whenever the table topics give me a topic, I'm going to expand the topic. So let's say if a boy-girl relationship, I will talk about motherly love, fatherly love, and the worldly love around the world for the mankind. So this strategy, as I use again and again, I started to develop a few strategies to tackle table topics, and I make my own style. Ladies and gentlemen, you have your own style also, and you know yourself well. And if you agree, please type into the chat box, make your style, okay? Make your style. To cut the long story short, over the last 6 years, I've been very active in Toastmasters. Whenever I go to a club, there must be something I do in the club so as not to waste my time. I must be a speaker, an evaluator, or a role player. Even if I'm not any of this, I must speak up somehow, introduce myself, impress other people because I want to improve my public speaking. I went to many clubs in order to do speeches, including this club. And I also volunteered myself to be test speaker in speech contest. I was lucky to have earned my DTM title within 4 years. And now I'm going for my second DTM. Yes, I also joined contests. And I won in club contests, won in area contests, and I went into division contests 5 times. And that developed my confidence. And from there, I felt more confidence of myself. People felt I could be a leader, and they started to make me a leader in club, in division, and also in district. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to compliment all of you here today because you have come to the right place. Sutera Utama Toastmasters Club. This is where we turn ourselves from non-speaker into a speaker. Yes, we in Toastmasters, in everything, every meeting, we hear a lot of speeches, many inspirational stories. but it is up to us to turn all this inspiration into application into our own speeches and Toastmasters journey. I would like to say it is possible. It has been possible for me to turn myself from a Mandarin speaker into an English speaker today. And here we learn in joy. And then just remember my tips. Be mindful, be immersed, write out your speech, read aloud, and make your own style, and you'll be there in no time. Together, we turn ourselves from non-English speaker to English speaker, from impossibility into possibility. With that, thank you very much for hearing me out, and I wish you all the best in your journey, and I see you at the top.